Hi, Precious Art. Thank you for joining us for our weekly vlog. Today, the beings of light want to share with us how Jesus and Mary Magdalene's message got so misconstrued. It is difficult when we try to reconcile the information being given to humanity by the beings of light in the realms of illumined truth with what we are being taught by the various world religions. That is because the information flooding into the mental and emotional strata of Earth during the dawning new age of Aquarius is often diametrically opposed to what we have been taught. We have been told by many of the various world religions that the Bible is divinely inspired and that every word should be taken as literal truth. But that is not what the beings of light have revealed, or what has been confirmed through historical documentation. When Jesus and Mary Magdalene were fulfilling their divine missions as avatars of the Piscean Age, those who followed their teachings were well aware of their relationship and the message they were bringing about our Mother God and the path of divine love each of us must follow in order to return to Christ consciousness. After they left the physical plane, humanity's egos once again did everything they could to confuse the issue and to block the truth of Jesus and Mary's message. Even with all of the groundwork that was carefully laid out during the Piscean Age, Jesus and Mary Magdalene knew that it would be millennia before humanity would really understand their message and awaken effectively enough to reclaim our divine birthright as Christ-conscious sons and daughters of God. It was obvious that our human egos were not going to relinquish their patriarchal control easily. The resistance would be great, and every possible effort would be made to suppress the role of Mary Magdalene and the truth of our Mother God. Jesus confirmed this knowing in Revelations when he stated to John the Beloved, "In the day of the seventh angel, when he begins to sound, the mystery of God will be fulfilled, and time will be no more." He said that would occur during the second coming of the Christ. The predominant light of God that bathes the earth during the age of Pisces, as well as the annual sun cycle of Pisces, is the sixth solar aspect of deity. This aspect of our Father, Mother God is known as the sixth angel, and it pulsates with an exquisite ruby gold radiance that reflects the divine qualities of peace, healing, devotional worship, ministering grace, and frequencies of the Christ made manifest. These divine qualities were the perfect support that Jesus and Mary Magdalene needed in order to accomplish their missions. The Piscean Age was the day of the sixth angel, and Jesus is known as the Prince of Peace because of the influences of the sixth solar aspect of deity. Jesus' symbol is the fish because he and Mary Magdalene were the avatars of the Piscean Age, which is represented by the symbol of the fish. The day of the seventh angel is the age of Aquarius, which we have now entered. This is the time Jesus was referring to when he said, "In the day of the seventh angel, when he begins to sound, the mystery of God will be fulfilled." Access to the realms of truth will indeed fulfill the mystery of God for each of us. This will happen when we return to Christ consciousness, which is what Jesus meant when he talked about the second coming of the Christ. When we return to Christ consciousness, we will once again be able to communicate with our I Am presence and the company of heaven through the natural process of open heart and mind telepathic communication. Jesus also said, "Time will be no more." This is true because we are ascending into the full embrace of the new earth, which exists in the timeless, spaceless realms of light in the fifth dimension. The constraints of a time and space continuum only exist in the third and fourth dimensions. The aspect of deity that bathes the earth during the age of Aquarius and the annual sun cycle of Aquarius is the seventh solar aspect of deity. This aspect of our Father, Mother, God pulsates with the violet flame of God's infinite perfection, which is the perfect balance of our Father God's blue flame of divine will and power, and our Mother God's pink flame of divine love and reverence for all life. This sacred fire is the perfect support humanity needs in order for us to return to Christ consciousness. After Jesus' crucifixion, resurrection, and ascension, plans were set into motion to protect Mary Magdalene from the interference of humanity's patriarchal human egos who were intent on blocking the awareness of our Mother God and the fact that Mary Magdalene was Jesus' wife. The Essene Brotherhood and Sisterhood, along with Mother Mary, Joseph of Arimathea, John the Beloved, and some of the other disciples, guarded Mary Magdalene. She was safely guided to various locations on the planet where she was able to anchor the divine matrix and archetypes for the return of our Mother God. Her protectors were well aware of her mission, and after her ascension, they steadfastly held the immaculate concept for the return of our Mother God on behalf of all humanity. These selfless exponents of God's will formed mystery schools and passed the information on in veiled and mysterious symbols that could not be deciphered by the common man and woman. The patriarchal leaders of the newly formed Christian churches had difficulty blocking the groundswell of information that kept surfacing in mysterious ways about Mary Magdalene and her relationship with Jesus. Various gospels were being circulated, which gave conflicting accounts of what really occurred during the pageantry of Jesus and the founding of what was being considered the Christian dispensation. Each gospel was an account of the experiences and the beliefs of the person who wrote it. These interpretations were made through each person's consciousness, which was usually controlled by their flawed human ego. In 325 AD, the Roman Emperor Constantine decided that the confusion in the Christian doctrine needed to be stopped, and that the various factions needed to be unified into one belief system. He called a meeting of over 300 bishops and organized what has been noted as the First Ecumenical Council. This gathering was the Council of Nicaea. During that meeting, Constantine denounced Arianism, which was founded by the theologian Arius. These teachings taught that Jesus was a son of God and that all of the children of earth are sons and daughters of God. He reiterated that God is within every person and that people do not need to depend on human beings outside of themselves in order to communicate with God or to receive God's forgiveness. This belief system interfered greatly with the power and control of the patriarchal priesthood and the church. So Constantine ordered Arius to cease and desist in teaching such heresy. At the end of the gathering, Constantine ordered a vote, and all but 3 bishops signed the Nicene Creed forbidding Arianism. Constantine felt this vote of support gave him the right to proceed with his mission. He gathered the 48 Gospels that were being circulated amongst the various factions of the church. He went through all of them carefully and selected just the Gospels that indicated that Jesus was divine in ways that the rest of humanity was not, and that Jesus alone was the only begotten Son of God. In all of the 48 Gospels, there were only 4 that indicated that Jesus alone was the Son of God, and that every other child of God is less than Jesus in God's eyes. These 4 Gospels were unnamed, as were many of the 48 Gospels. Constantine is the one who made the decision to name the Gospels that he specifically chose to be included in the Bible. He named them Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Constantine then proceeded to go through the rest of the teachings to decide what he wanted to include in the Bible. In order to maintain the supreme power of the church and the patriarchal priesthood, he removed any reference to our Mother God or the divine feminine. He also removed any reference to the relationship between Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and any teachings he could identify regarding reincarnation. Constantine's actions redefined the status of Christianity and formed the basis for the Bible used today throughout the Christian world. Even with this obvious betrayal of the truth, the mission of Jesus and Mary Magdalene could not be suppressed. To the total consternation of the church, the reality of their spiritual and intimate relationship kept surfacing. One by one, the seekers of truth were guided to the mystery schools and the secret societies. Little by little, they learned about this sacred mission of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. In 590 AD, Pope Gregory decided that enough was enough. He was determined to once and for all put an end to this threat to the patriarchal supremacy of the church. With the stroke of a pen, Pope Gregory declared that Mary Magdalene was a prostitute and asserted that she was seething with 7 evil spirits. This was the very first time that Mary Magdalene was said to be a prostitute. That unconscionable lie was written nearly 600 years after her embodiment. As far as the church was concerned, this concocted story squelched the rumors about Jesus and Mary Magdalene's marriage. In order to maintain the semblance of damage control, the church leaders tried to transfer the attention from Mary Magdalene to another Mary, Jesus' mother. This was a futile effort in their attempt to block the awareness of our Mother God, because Mother Mary was also holding the sacred space for the return of the divine feminine. Mother Mary protected the truth about Mary Magdalene, while she held the outer world's attention on her own mission of being the divine mother of Jesus. For centuries, the immaculate concept of Mary Magdalene's divine mission with Jesus was guarded from the outer world by her valiant protectors. With unfailing tenacity, these selfless souls prepared for the day of the seventh angel, when the return of our Mother God would be brought to fruition. Throughout history, there are bits and pieces of information regarding the souls who were fulfilling the service of protecting the mission of Mary Magdalene and Jesus. But most of them are terribly distorted and contaminated with misinformation from the fallen egos of those associated with the patriarchal church. The groups most noteworthy of protecting the information regarding the return of our Mother God are the Essenes, the Cathars, and the Knights Templar. Within the historic documentations of England, Spain, France, Malta, and other places throughout the Mediterranean, the mystical stories of the protectors of this sacred knowledge about Mary Magdalene and the return of our Mother God can still be found. The most blatant proof of the ego's attempt to block this information is reflected in the accounts of the Church's horrific persecution and the brutal demise of these dedicated protectors during the Crusades and the Inquisition. For the past several decades, lightworkers have been making pilgrimages to the areas where these atrocities took place. The intent of these pilgrimages is to transmute the etheric records of the pain and suffering involved in protecting the truth about the return of our Mother God. Precious heart, we have moved into the full embrace of the Aquarian age, and the mystery of God is being revealed. Now it is time for you and me and the rest of awakening humanity to fulfill the next phase of this unprecedented divine plan. God bless you, and I look forward to being with you next week as the company of heaven reveals to us the next phase of the divine plan.